BetOnline continues to be the world's most trusted betting platform and your number one source for online betting. From the earliest odds to in-game live betting, BetOnline provides you with all the action and the ability to watch the games as they happen. With the largest selection of odds on everything from football, the NBA, college basketball, NHL to UFC, head to BetOnline today and don't forget to use the promo code BELIEVE, B-L-E-A-V, BELIEVE, for your first welcome bonus on your first deposit. BetOnline, the game starts here. Welcome, everyone. It is the Fly Guys podcast. Justin Goodhart alongside Cameron Klein, and a holly jolly happy holidays to all as Cameron and I are showing up wearing our Santa hats. He's got the more traditional, white trim with the red, hat and the white ball. I'm going with the Philadelphia Eagles green hat, white trim, old style Eagle lettering. I can't believe I have to say this is the old style Eagle lettering, by the way.
It's the better lettering.
It's definitely the better lettering.
Yeah, I'm tired of the whole minimalist. We're gonna reduce everything. Nothing has character anymore. And no, that lettering is the best lettering. It's fantastic. It's intimidating. It's sharp.
And as we come to you on these happy holidays here as we enter the mid part of December, we hope you guys have been enjoying your Christmas music as you work throughout your day. We hope you've been listening to plenty Flyers podcasts, maybe even the Fly Guys podcast, if we do say so ourselves. We last left you off. The Flyers were hot. Matvei Michkov was doing the darn thing, and the goaltending had suddenly had a renaissance and was looking like it was turning into a formidable tandem between Ivan Fedotov and, of course, Alexei Kolosov. And what to my wondering eye should appear over these last three games? Well, I'll tell you what. We had, 7 goals of ringing for the Florida Panthers on us. We had 2-goal blown leads against the Boston Bruins. And to finish it off with our first ever meeting with one partridge in a Utah's pear tree, and our first ever meeting with the Utah Hockey Club, the Flyers just get beat. It's not a matter of, they blew it. No, they just straight up got beat by the Utah Hockey Club on Sunday night, 4-2. And the big talk from that game, Morgan Frost.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, buddy.
Oh, man. It continue. We continue on this roller coaster, not in a good way, mostly going up roller coaster of a season.
It's an EKG. It's an EKG reading. And Morgan Frost, my guy, to quote the great Nick Sirianni, it's always him. It's always him. And I just couldn't believe what I saw in that moment, because it's bad when even Jim Jackson gives the most deflated goal call I've ever heard. He overskates it. Here he comes. Scores. And I'm just like, yeah.
Because you felt it. You just felt it. It was coming. And it. And it was a shame because he didn't play a bad game. He did not play a horrible game. And it was a thing where it was like, the whole game felt off, felt weird. It was a back-to-back right after a slugfest against Boston the day before. But, oh, my God, man. Just the microscope's already on the kid. He had a couple good games late November, sure. But still, you're kind of like, well, we got to see this at a consistent level. It seems like he just kind of regressed right back to early October, Morgan Frost. And now he has an okay game, and then just this absolute blunder of all blunders. I almost feel bad for him, dude. I almost felt bad for him after that.
How could you not? It actually is kind of nuts to me he really is just such an up and down player, and you just never know what you're going to get. And I really thought in that moment, I saw the play happen, and I just kind of put my head down. I'm just like, it could have happened to literally anyone else, and I probably wouldn't have been as just contorted in my heart. But when I saw it was Frost, I'm like, boy, if you were looking to silence the crowd, I don't think you could have picked a worse way to accomplish such a feat.
Yeah, you just about killed him. And like it happens it can happen to anybody. Like a couple years ago with the Brad Marchand when he was, doing the shootout and he skates past the puck. Like, it's happened to Stanley Cup winning players, right? Like, it happens. So, like, I'm not going to kill him too much for the play because it's like I'm sure he's already doing that enough himself.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's just, again, it's the microcosm of we've been watching him all year. We've been rooting all year. We've been wanting him to turn it around. When are we going to see Morgan Frost? When are we going to see the Morgan Frost that we need him to be? And he's giving you nothing. He's giving you nothing. And I don't want to be in the mindset of like, oh, just get rid of him, because I'm not. I'm just not that type of not that kind of guy, not the kind of fan.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's like, buddy, you're making it difficult to keep you around. You're making, or maybe not, because maybe his contract's going to be really cheap. But at this point, I don't even know if I want you on a cheap contract, man, because I don't know what I'm going to get. I don't want to deal with the, oh, maybe he's going to be a 60-point player and then he just disappears for 3 months. I don't know if I want to sign myself up for that.
No. And it's hard to like. This isn't not about to turn into a whole like we're gonna take a big giant dump on Morgan Frost type of situation,
right? No,
because there's other things to talk about. The Flyers in the third period have been terrible of late, and you know what? These last 3 games, especially, they've been really bad in the third period. Now, if they had held on to beat the Boston Bruins and the Florida Panthers, I wouldn't be able to say that right now.
Mm-hmm.
But after Cameron, I texted you after the Flyers took the lead against the Panthers, and I'm like, I can't believe they're outplaying them right now. I can't believe what they're doing to the Panthers.
Yeah.
And like, I don't know, 5 minutes after I sent that text, everything fell by the wayside. And all the walls came crashing down. And then a couple days later, they take a 3-1 lead eventually against the Boston Bruins as they go into the third period. Can't hold on to that lead.
Yeah.
Can't hold on to that lead. And like, it reaches a point with me where I'm just physically unable to understand what this team needs to do to get themselves to the finish line in some of these games, because last year doesn't matter anymore because it's freaking December now.
Yeah.
It is a new team. It is a new identity. And let me tell you right now, the third period woes, I don't remember them too well last year.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to keep going back to last year and be like, oh, last year they were this, last year they were that, especially against good teams. Last year they win that game against Florida, and last year they win that game against Boston. So in a new year, in a new team, all I can say right now is that they stink in the third period.
Yeah, they haven't been playing great. They have not been playing great. I'm looking at the expected goals for, especially last night. I mean, and again, last night just felt so odd. The whole, right out of the gate with the Utah game, I wasn't expecting, I don't know, anything. I texted you maybe 5 minutes into the second period, and I was just kind of like, I'm not loving this game at all.
No.
That's how I felt for the whole thing. For, at least with Florida, I don't know. With Florida, I have to say, they played them really well. And the Florida Panthers are a Stanley Cup winning team. They're arguably one of the best teams in the league right now, again, as they have been. And to me, it just fell off the rails. They kept up with them for however long they did. It got behind them, got past them. They fell off the rails. They couldn't get anything back on track within the final couple minutes of it. And to me, it's like that's what makes the Florida Panthers the Florida Panthers. They did what the Florida Panthers do. So I can't hate that. The Boston Bruin game, I'm not going to blame the officiating, but it didn't help. It did not help anything. I do love that John Tortorella gave us another classic soundbite right after the rip.
Teach him how to dive. Got to teach him how to dive, man.
I love him. I love him to death. But still, there were other things in that game, right? Like, even though the TK penalty on McAvoy was weak, still can't happen. You can't have contact. You can't have that from your leadership guys. You can't have TK making a penalty like that late in the third period. You can't have Sean Couturier doing the same thing, right? A couple minutes later, after you're benching TK for what he did earlier in the game, it's just sloppy. And that is not what we've come to expect from the John Tortorella Flyers of the past couple of months. You don't expect to see that sloppiness, especially in those crucial moments. And
we've talked so much about sloppiness. In other episodes, we've talked about sloppiness, and we've talked about bad habits.
Yeah,
and it's still the same thing where they they lollygag in their own zone, and then they turn the puck over, and then it's an opportunity going the other way. They're not crisp with their passes. They don't shoot the puck when they're supposed to shoot the puck. They try and make that extra pass and all that stuff. And it's not everyone, but it is a lot of the players. And these are just things that you do not see good teams failing to capitalize on. When the Carolina Hurricanes need to get the puck out of the zone, they get the puck out of the zone. Same with the Washington Capitals. Same with the New Jersey Devils. And I can't believe I'm saying it, but the Devils are good again this year. So, yay, the Devils are good again.
Yeah.
Yay.
And you saw it with Florida. You saw in the last 10 minutes, they turned it on. You saw the switch happen. And it's like, that is what, if you want to make that next step and get to that next level, that's what you need to learn how to do without making crucial mistakes. You got to learn how to tap into the energy without being overwhelmed by the energy.
And so as I sit here 15 days before Christmas, and my sister texts me, "What do you want for Christmas?" and my mom asks me, "What do you want for Christmas?" and other people, you get on their Christmas list and all that. And all I really want, Cameron, I just want some damn consistency. That's what I want for Christmas. I want the Flyers to be able to put on a product that they're not just going to be resorting to the same dumb mistakes in their own zone constantly, that they're going to stop blowing these multiple goal leads. I feel like I'm back in 2021 again watching this team take a 3-1 lead against the Islanders, lose the game in overtime. Take a 3-1 lead against the Boston Bruins, lose the game in overtime. Just constantly so much with the dumb blown leads. And maybe it really is a couple things that can't be addressed this season. Maybe they just don't have the right players on the team right now. Goaltending has taken yet another nosedive these last 3 games. The biggest one, of course, being against the Florida Panthers. They're down 2-0 after the first period. Fedotov gets pulled, and Kolosov goes in. And after the game, John Tortorella is not there to answer the questions, and Bradshaw is instead answering the questions.
Mm-hmm.
And you know what? Boy, does that Philadelphia media love it when doesn't show.
Speculation. It comes out.
Oh, man, don't they love it when he just doesn't show?
Yeah, I think the idea was, I don't know, I'm playing devil's advocate, but I'm thinking like, okay, well, maybe he talked to Ivan after the first period, and maybe he just wasn't, maybe he was like, okay, head's not in the right place. We're just going to have him sit and chill. Or equally, maybe he was John Tortorella level disgusted, right, with play, and was like, you're going to sit your ass down. You're not playing again for a week. I don't know. We don't know, and we never will, right? We'll not for a while. But yeah, I don't know. I think nosedive is a little harsh, but to me, it's balanced out. To me, it's like you saw Fedotov put up these crazy numbers in early November or mid-November, and then you saw, again, like you said, nosedive. To me, that's what Fedotov's going to be. He's going to be, you're going to see these moments where it's like, oh, there was the guy that we signed. There was the guy that we wanted to bring over here 4 years ago. That's him. There it is. But you're also going to see just those like we've said before, he's 28 years old. You're going to see him just resort to his bad habits at times. You're going to see him resort to the habits that are already ingrained in him because they're already there. You can't fix him at this point. He's 28 years old. Kolosov doesn't look terrible. He's earning his opportunity, which to me is kind of like annoys me as if ever Danny Briere, because I'm just thinking to myself, I'm like, dude, I kept telling you, if you came over here, you'd get your opportunity. Look right now, man. Why did you have to make a whole big stink this offseason about, I want to play in the NHL? I told you you'd have your shot. Here it is. You know what I mean? So, like, God damn, why was that? That drama was not necessary. But anyway, he's been playing solid. He's been playing good. So it's nice to have an option. It's just I don't love the fact that both of the options, whether it be Sam Ersson and Kolosov or Sam Ersson and Fedotov, are projects. I don't like that. I don't like the fact that I don't want Kolosov to turn into Ersson where it's like, well, we need to put more pressure on you to do better than what you're supposed to be, and then you're just going to end up being a 904 save percentage goaltender your entire career. I don't want to do that. I don't want that to happen.
Philadelphia until he goes to Columbus and becomes
and wins 3 Vezina. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, how could you not worry about that? Like, it's Flyers develop goalies about as well as the Dallas Cowboys develop quarterbacks these days. Like they're good, but they're not good enough. That's just how it always has been. Roman Cechmanek, Robert Esch, Antonio Niedermaki, Marty Biron, Steve Mason, Michael
Mm-hmm.
Neuver,
Mm-hmm.
Carter Hart, and on and on and on. And I could go on forever about the fact the Flyers don't go develop goalies. But pulling the guy when it's 2-0, like, I get it.
Against arguably like the most offensively stacked.
Like let me tell you something. In today's NHL, and I mean this for a second. In today's NHL, I'm not sure Dominic Hasek would last a period against some of these teams. The rules have changed. The dead puck era is over. And like when people idolize the days of like Patrick Waugh and Dominic Hasek and Legacy and Osgood and all that stuff, all I have to say is like the only goalie that I thought made a smooth transition from the dead puck era to the live puck era is like Marc-Andre Fleury. Like that was the goal I thought did the best job handling everything. Like when I see Connor Hellebuck still have a goals against average of like 1.88, I'm like, yeah, he's the greatest goalie of all time because he's playing in an era where you're supposed to be able to score 6 goals a game.
Yeah,
Well,
you're right.
back in the day, if you were up 2-1 in the second period, that was ball game. It was over. You weren't scoring after that. There's so many developmental issues I see with this Flyers team, but chief among them are inconsistencies and bad habits that aren't getting weeded out. Sometimes they don't pay for it. I forget which game it was. I want to say it was the Florida game, although it might have been St. Louis, where I think it was Ristolainen had a chance to like move the puck out of the zone, and he stands there for like a few seconds longer to like, I don't know, create more space for himself. And he almost loses the puck in his own zone. And I'm like, you know what? You have all this ice in front of you. You've got all this white ice in front of you. Take the ice and just go. Don't wait for, connecting to get set up somewhere in the neutral zone, or try and make a move, make a guy miss, and then maybe you can make some sort of a rush, a counter rush. Get the puck out of the zone, because right now this team's not good enough to be able to try those little nifty plays to showcase how fleet of foot they are, because they're turning the puck over way too much. They're putting their goalies in a bad situation. The defense is getting stretched too thin. The defense doesn't always play that consistently. And also those goalies that I just mentioned getting stretched too thin, yeah, they also suck a lot of the game as well. There I go. I'm going.
But I think you're right, especially with the getting out of our own zone. It seems like there's always this they're always looking for the stretch pass. And I get it. That's today's NHL. That is, to me, something you want to get to. But there are certain players on this team that can work. Travis Konechny, Matthew Michkov, Owen Tippett, he's getting there. Even Sanheim, if he hopped up on the rush, you could kind of do like a stretch pass kind of thing. But those are the only guys. You don't have enough. You don't have enough players like that can be able to navigate that, to be able to break out properly like that with a big ass stretch pass. I appreciate the idea because it's very offensive thinking, but I agree with you. The skill level isn't quite there at this moment. And yeah, I will say, there are some people that I'm still very hopeful for. Joel Farabee, even though he hasn't been scoring, has been playing well the past couple of weeks. Last night he scores. I'm kind of hoping that turns into something. The thing that I was very excited to see last night, the only really, really big green flag for me, was Jamie Drysdale. He looked very good.
He looked very good. Mm-hmm. I agree.
And I'm not sure if you heard any of his interview, but he kind of implied that he's been healthy for a hot minute there. And he was just, the way he put it was like, well, I was excited to get back. The team was rolling. They were playing really well. We didn't want to mess up the chemistry, something along those lines. And it kind of seems like, well, maybe he wasn't nursing an injury this entire time. Maybe they were nursing his development for a week or two during this time. And maybe you saw the fruits of that labor last night. That goal that was taken away from him, which should not have been, by the way. I understand, okay, the letter of the law, yeah, he's in the crease. Yeah, he technically kind of touched him. He didn't interfere with him. That didn't get in the way of them stopping the puck at all, okay? No. If that call happens in a playoff game, I'm fuming. But
they don't
fine.
call that in a playoff game. That's the thing. It's a regular season call, yeah.
As they shouldn't. But anyway, whatever. Point being is that he looked very good last night, that play specifically. And I loved that his decision immediately was, I'm just going to fire the puck on net. It wasn't, as you just complained about, it wasn't that I'm going to look for a pass, go here, go there, whatever. It was just, F it, I'm sending it. And it worked. And it worked. And I loved seeing that from him. So I just want him to work so well. I want him to work so badly.
If I wanted to watch a bunch of guys just pass to each other, I'd turn on a stupid basketball game.
Well, they don't even do that anymore because it's just, they kind of do it. They pass to the outside to whoever's open and they take a 3-point shot. That's what basketball is anymore.
Shout out to the Boston Celtics taking 63 pointers in a game the other night. Shout out to them. That's basketball if I've ever seen it.
There are people who are pissed about that here, by the way. Pissed.
Oh, I don't think Bostonians will take kindly to that because they're a bit more traditional basketball fans as it is. So, yeah. They were pissed about it. I'm shocked.
Why is Derek White shooting that? Yeah, fair question.
I hate the Celtics, and I was pissed for them. I was like, I cannot believe that happened. But anyway, yes, Drysdale played great. It was another guy I wanted to talk to because we got to give a belated birthday shout-out as well.
Oh, who? I can't remember.
Matvey Michkov turned 20 years old.
Oh, that's right.
He's not a teenager anymore, Cameron.
Yeah.
He's not a teenager anymore.
December 9th. He's the man, dude. You see him signing that autograph yesterday?
Yeah, so first and foremost, that referee that blew his whistle right in that guy's ear, right in Michkov's ear, and then has the nerve to send him off the ice, because I thought Michkov was going to take his stick and slash that guy in the face. And the people that are, and anyone that's out there being like, Michkov has to be more disciplined. Oh, F off.
No.
You know what? If anything, I need Michkov to be more like that. I want him to be more feisty. The last four games, Michkov has 5 assists and 3 goals. So 8 points in 4 games. He's up to 25 points on the season. He's a +3, 26 games played this year. Cameron, we're very quickly seeing this guy is turning into so much more than just a rookie. He is the reason that as the Flyers enter play tonight against the Columbus Blue Jackets, that that they're 12-12-4 right now, that they're not 9-13-6 or something crazy like that.
Yeah,
he's been a hero this season, and he marches towards the Calder Trophy. I don't know when the Calder Trophy. I just am really amazed by how this guy carries himself. Signs going down the tunnel, signs a water bottle. I mean. What? He's a man of the people. What can we say?
He is. I think he gets it. I just think he gets it, and I think he loves it too, which is awesome. But no, and furthermore, he's on a line with Tippett and Frost, and Tippett been playing well recently as well. He's starting to actually exercise the fruits of that labor between him and Michkov. I love seeing that. And again, not trying to go full circle with Morgan Frost, but then it makes you beg the question: what is up with you, brother? What's going on? Because you got 2 of the most talented guys on your line, and they're actually playing pretty well together.
Yep.
Haven't seen you. Where are you? And the thing is the Flyers' hands are kind of tied because it's like, well, who else are you going to put at center there?
They don't have a good center.
Yeah. So it's
it's not one befitting of Owen Tippett and Michkov,
And that's and again, I don't want to focus entirely on Morgan Frost, but my point being is imagine if. You obviously can't take Couturier from the top line because he's going to have the tough minutes. So I don't even want Michkov on Couturier's line because he's going to be playing against the hardest dudes.
Can't put Lawton with him because Lawton works well with Garnet Hathaway, and Lawton's just too much of a kind of like a grinder type player that doesn't really fit the style of what Michkov and Tippett need.
No, but imagine if you had a Couturier-like player, right? Or someone just a higher skill level on that line. You're not talking 25 points. You're talking 30.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
You're talking what is their record? Oh my goodness. Where do I
They're 12-12-4 right now.
12-4. Yeah, you're talking 15-9-3, right? Or whatever, if my math's done correctly there. But yeah, you're talking a handful more wins, more points. Yeah. And it's an optimistic thing where it's like, look at how well he's doing right now at 19.
Mm-hmm.
With a very inconsistent center play. And he's still crushing it. So it's just another testament of how good the kid is and how they have to figure this out. Because I swear to God, if we go through Claude Giroux again, I'm not doing this shit. I can't do this shit. I can't. I don't have the emotional capacity
to just You can't say it's. He's 20 years old. We can't be saying this already that we're going to.
I know. I know.
Yeah. Speaking of the matchup tonight, what happens, Cameron, when a movable object meets a stoppable force? You get the Philadelphia Flyers home record versus the Columbus Blue Jackets road record. The Flyers are 6-8-1 at home this season, while the Blue Jackets are 4-9-2 on the road. Someone's bad record is getting improved in that stat column. Columbus comes in 1 point worse than the Flyers in one less game played. They're 12-12-3. We're 12-12-4. Flyers currently sit 1 point out of a wild card spot behind the New York Rangers, who are 2-8 in their last 10. They've lost 2 more in a row. They traded Jacob Trouba. I don't know what the hell's going on in New York right now, but it's not good. The more interesting thing, though, is that Flyers are playing great. They looked like they were going to roll ahead with a wild card spot for at least a little while, but immediately they've given it right back. Pittsburgh's playing well of late. Right now, if you separate wild card number 1 all the way down to the 10th spot, dead last place in the entire Eastern Conference, the Tampa Bay Lightning have 30 points. The Montreal Canadiens have 25 points. You can separate 1 through 10 by 5 points.
Yeah,
needless to say, it's a slog. Yeah, two games. It's a slog right now, and I don't know. I don't know what the result of this is going to be, but all I do know is that the Flyers still have a great opportunity in front of them to try and assert themselves in some sort of playoff conversation. But they got to get better at home. They have to play better on home ice.
Yeah, for a Philadelphia team, having a losing home record is you can't have that.
You won't get away with that in this city.
No, it's terrible. It's one of the biggest strengths the city has is being the home, having the home field advantage. And again, you talk about, I don't want to relate everything to the Broad Street Bullies because it's it's a different time and it's all about more speed and skill now. But the biggest staple of the Broad Street Bullies was no one wanted to come and play in Philadelphia. Nobody did.
No.
And for it to be the stark opposite is it's a black eye on the franchise right now. It's a black eye.
Well, we've had a lot of black eyes for a few years now.
Yeah, we've been getting beat up pretty bad.
Annual stat update as well as we're talking about like different stats. I'm very happy to announce that Cutter Gauthier now has 3 goals and 8 assists, 11 points in 26 games, a -4. Big shout out to that guy. You certainly wouldn't want 11 goals and 14 assists in a 26-game stretch. I know that you wouldn't want that, obviously, Cutter. So glad, obviously, of course, that you demanded a roster spot immediately. You're making the Ducks decision look very well right now, and I'm happy for you. I'm very.
While we're on the Ducks, what is the benefit of Jacob Trouba to that team right now?
I guess if you want to have, they're like, okay, we only have one dirty defenseman that lays a lot of hits. That's unnecessary. But what if we had 2?
Jacob Trouba is still a good player. I just don't like. But for how long?
He's a good player in the same way that Sean Couturier is still a good player. It's like, yeah, he's productive.
That's what I'm saying. And it's like, shouldn't you be getting assets, getting rid of guys like Jacob Trouba, not getting rid of assets to get a guy like him? And it was only a 4th round pick, but I don't know. I'm just trying to.
4th round pick can still be something. It's not like it's the NFL 4th round pick where it's like, oh, you never find a gem in the 4th round or anything like that. The 4th round in hockey is a high enough draft pick. You shouldn't be getting rid of that. There's 50 rounds in the hockey draft.
And again, when you're rebuilding too, getting rid of draft picks that's not. Whatever. I'm not going to try to make sense of that.
I don't know.
I can't. I'm not wasting my time.
I don't understand. Also, I like how I said there's 50 rounds in the hockey draft. There's 7 rounds, Justin. You're an idiot. But no, the thing is, the Ducks try to present themselves as if they are, I don't know, a playoff contender.
You can't.
A juggernaut.
You can't, though.
If you're trading for Jacob Trouba, what else would I be led to believe?
That's my thought. That is exactly yes. That is why I'm perplexed. That is why that makes no sense to me.
They're 10-12-4, 24 points, and they're 8th in the wild card standings, and it's not as close as it is in the Eastern Conference. From 1st to 10th, it's a 12-point disparity. But dude, you're behind the San Jose Sharks in the standings. Need I say more?
No, seriously though. I have no other words. I don't know what else to say.
And like, if you want to take it a step further, because obviously, we should talk about this a little bit, since we're going to talk about it. So they're 10, 12, and 4 right now. They're the best thing the Ducks have done in the last 30 years, even though they weren't. I don't even know if they're 30 years old yet. Best thing they did was they brought back the old logo, right? Agreed? That's the best thing they've done.
Yeah.
Last year, 27, 50, and 5. 27, 50, and 5 for 59 points. So I would love to know where they, sat down after the season ended and thought, yeah, we're right there. We're ready to be a contender. We're ready.
That's what I'm saying.
With the Vegas Golden Knights, the Winnipeg Jets, the Minnesota Wild.
I feel like I looked at them last year, the year even before that, and I saw it. I'm like, yeah, this is going to be like a 3-4 year rebuild. If you're lucky, if you go hard, and if you know what you're doing.
The year before. The year before, 58 points.
Yeah, they've been horrible.
Yeah, they have not
for years.
I don't think does anyone actually remember? The last time they made the playoffs was 2017, 2018. The year after, and by the way, they got swept by the San Jose Sharks. The year after was the first of a string of losing seasons in hockey. They have not had a winning season since 2017, 2018. So why they, make the big trade for Cutter Gauthier? Okay, I get that one. Okay, that's a prospect. You think, okay, that's a guy to build around. That trade alone made sense. And even if it doesn't work out, the trade still made sense in the moment. Mm-hmm. But Jacob Trouba, who's 30 years old, and I would venture to say his best days are very well might be behind him. That just shows me that you don't know which way you want your franchise to be going in right now. You don't have a direction.
No, and again, the other big part of their young little puzzle is Trevor Zegras, which again, big topic for Philadelphia Flyer fans because they're always talking about Jamie Drysdale's his best friend. He's going to come here, right? I don't know, but point being is that they are apparently the rumors are that they're willing to move him, and it's like, okay, so you're willing to move. Again, I feel like we're trying to make sense of madness, and it's just stupid. There's no point. We're wasting our time.
You're
going to get rid of the 23-year-old kid who was just on the cover of NHL a couple years ago, who's doing lacrosse shit, right?
Yep.
But you're going to bring in the 30-year-old defenseman who plays like Scott Stevens. Okay.
Plays like
all right, man. I don't.
Yeah.
Okay.
Again, you have Alex Killorn on the team. Yippee.
When they signed him, that's another one. When they signed him last year, I was like, that makes no good for Alex Killorn. He's getting paid, and he's gonna live in California. Good for him. But
you have Ryan Strome, cool. Frank Vetrano, who's he's fine. They have players. They have hockey players. But you know what? There's one thing I've learned. If there's one thing I've learned is that having a couple here and there good hockey players, a team does not make.
No.
And Travis Zegras, if you want to come join the Philadelphia Flyers, listen, all you have to do is just got to tamper just a little bit. Just got to have your agent call up Danny and be like, work out a deal. I want to come to Philadelphia.
Is Raka Goodas, is he still the captain there, right?
He is still the captain there.
Oh, my God.
Hey, listen, we will not have any... Listen, you want to know how crazy this is? Cam Fowler is still there.
They tried to dump him. They apparently tried to dump him to New York.
No one wanted him, and they're like, well, we can't do a buyout. I mean, Cam Fowler, he has been there since 2010. He has seen the Duck rise again, just to fall back one more time.
Yeah. He was fun in the 2014 Olympics.
He was actually, I thought, probably a top 4 defender for a good few years there.
Yeah. Again, 10 years ago. Yeah, you're right.
Much like Drew Doughty kind of fell apart, although Drew Doughty then made a bit of a comeback.
Yeah, good for him.
I don't know why we're spending 15 minutes just taking an elephant-sized dump on the Anaheim Ducks.
And it's not even we're trying to dump on them. It's just I'm trying to make it make sense in my own brain, and I can't because it's not. Yeah, it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. Imagine having a captain defenseman who plays less than 20 minutes a night. Couldn't be me.
I don't know. I didn't know they have Brian Dumoulin on the team. Did not know that. Didn't know Brian Dumoulin was still in hockey.
Yeah, dude.
He's from Maine. Man, Brian Dumoulin, America, man. Whew. Rock, flag, and eagle. Yeah. So that's maybe this is all to say it could be worse. It could be worse.
It could be. It could be.
We could be the Ducks, and that I don't think anyone wants to be the Ducks right now.
No, like again, we're complaining because we
But
want to just see more. We want to see more consistency because we're seeing the glimpses of what it could be, and it looks nice. It looks nice when it looks nice, and it's like it's the same feeling of being a Dolphins fan when all of a sudden they're winning games 2 years ago, and it's like I've never felt hope before. This is interesting, and you're now at a point where it's like you're so easily disappointed because you're getting the glimpses, you're getting the taste of what it could be. So no, it could be significantly worse. I still think the Flyers are going to make the playoffs this year. I do. As a wild card team, I don't think they're going to go very far, but I do see enough improvement and enough improvement from the pieces that need to improve that it's like, yeah, it's still trending upward. Not as quickly as I want it to be, but it's still trending upward. And it's fine. It'll be fine.
Let me just make it clear. There's no one in the NHL right now that I think is running away as the title of the best team in hockey. I haven't the best team in the NHL right now, for me, it's a toss-up between the Vegas Golden Knights or the Washington Capitals. That's not what I thought my answer would be a few months into the season.
Mm-mm.
The Minnesota Wild are playing out of their mind right now. But if last year's Winnipeg Jets tell you anything, it's that the first half of the season can be a very different story from what the second half of the season looks like. Maybe the Wild will continue to be great. Maybe they won't. Winnipeg Jets, 29-0 right now. They look great. Yeah, they looked great last year. And also they've been on a slide recently.
I was going to say they started the season like 15-game, like a 13-game win streak or something like that. So
yeah, so 29 isn't exactly all that pretty of a number. We thought the Vancouver Canucks would be a lot better than what they are right now, but they've been only okay to good. The Los Angeles Kings have looked good. They're not great. The Dallas Stars have looked good. They're not great. So even though we say, like, oh, the Flyers aren't going to make a deep run, getting into the playoffs is a big deal because once you're in, you just never know what can happen in a 7-game series. Anything can go your way. Anything can go against you. But, give yourself a chance. Get in the playoffs. And if you get swept by the Florida Panthers, then you get swept by the Florida Panthers.
Yeah.
Oh, well.
To relate it to I'm sure everybody, fantasy football playoffs are happening right now, right? For a lot of people, this past week was the last regular season in fantasy football. And to put it in perspective, my one team went on a 5-game losing streak, still made the playoffs by points for, right? I was in a 4-way tie, but my points for got us there. The point being is that in a couple of those games where my team scored like 140, 160 points when I was like, well, they only needed 130 to win, those points made the difference. And it's moments like by the time we get to April, we're going to be looking back. Well, for that Boston Bruin game, you lost 4-3. Really would have loved that extra point right now. That Utah game, really would have loved that extra point.
That's the game I think I'm going to be thinking about a lot. Is like, especially if Utah doesn't end up turning into a very good team this year, I'm going to be like, man, they should have beat that Utah team.
Hey, I think they're better than people give them credit for because of the move and because of Arizona. They have the 2 young kids in their team. I'm blank. Coley, I forget the other one.
They got
speed.
Players.
Yeah.
I think they got players. I think the Flyers are better, but I think they definitely have
players. Agreed.
You might be thinking to yourself, man, when the Flyers grabbed that 5-4 lead against the Florida Panthers back in December, like, oh, I would have really loved for them to hold on to that lead.
Yeah.
Or at least get a point out of that. Would get that one to overtime. So, yeah, what you do now in December, while it can not mean anything in the grand scheme of things if you end up falling deeply out of the playoff race, it means even more when you're in the playoff race and you're missing that point here and there. And somehow the Flyers always end up in this situation where, like, they've played 79 games, but the team below them has played 74 games. Right. They're only 3 points above them, and you're like, yeah,
just sweating. Sweating the entire month. Yeah. But no, you're right. Like, last year, it came down to the last game of the season. And it was so tight that it was like, if it goes to overtime, neither of us are making it. Like, it got that close. And yeah, all of a sudden, like you said, that Florida Panther game, the Utah game, you care about them. They matter suddenly.
They will all, every game has matters, to quote every coach that ever lived. Every game matters. And so before, as we wrap up this episode, Flyers play in about an hour and a half. Yeah. We obviously hope you guys enjoy the game tonight, Cameron. All I'm looking for is a little bit of consistency. That's just what I want. Give me a good game tonight where the team shows up, plays well, gets out of there, 2 more points in the standings for them.
Yeah.
What I don't want to see is whatever the heck we saw on Sunday and whatever we saw on Saturday, where they're storm out, they look like they're the best team in the world, and then for the last 2.5 periods, you're just you're covering your eyes with your hands and just peeking through this the little slots between your fingers.
Yeah, just feeling it coming, feeling the defeat coming. Yeah, I agree with you. I want to see consistency. I want to see a full 100% game from Morgan Frost more than anybody else. And the other guy I'm looking at is Jamie Drysdale. I want to see you build on what you did last night against the Utah Hockey Club, or 2 nights ago against the Utah Hockey Club. I want to see you build on that. That was awesome. It was awesome seeing that you played really, really well. But you were also the guy who hasn't played all month, and they were all also coming off of a back-to-back. So not trying to say it wasn't worth anything. It was awesome, but it's just like, but I got to see it all the time. I got to see it a little bit more consistent.
Yep.
And I think they're going to get there because, again, you look at Travis Sanheim and what he's turned into with this Flyers team. You even look at Rasmus Ristolainen, and he's turned into not a liability on the ice over the past 2 years. I have faith that this Flyers team is going to be able to get the best out of Jamie Drysdale. And I think he has all of the intangible and the physical skills to get there. So I just want to see that start to string together for the guy because we need it, man. We need somebody else to be able to do what Travis Sanheim can do. And all of a sudden, if you have that, we're not talking about the number 1 or number 2 wildcard spot,
No, we're not. And so with that, and Cameron's prophetic epitome of what the Flyers are, or could be, that is the end of this episode of the Fly Guys Podcast. We hope you guys are having the happiest of holidays. And as always, the Fly Guys Podcast is presented by Bet Online. Be sure to follow us on Twitter at Fly Guys Podcast, on Instagram at Fly Guys Podcast. He is Cameron Klein. My name is Justin Goodhart. Be happy, be healthy, and as always, let's go Flyers.